Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I haven't filmed like a book video or like any video that isn't a vlog in a while, so this is kind of funny. But it's June now, so it's 6 months through the year, and I've been seeing a lot of people doing their mid-year wrap-ups on like their favorite books so far and how many books they've read so far in like the first half of 2023, and I thought it would just be a fun way to sort of show you some of the books that I've been reading, because I haven't read enough books to do like full monthly wrap-ups because I've been really busy. I'm a second year uni student, so I've got a lot on my plate, but I thought this would just be like a fun way to show you guys some of the books I've been reading and some of the books I've been loving so far. So if you're interested in all, keep watching. So far this year, I have read 24 books. So originally at the beginning of the year, my Goodreads goal was 100 books. This was the same for last year as well, but I sort of changed it to 80 books a few weeks ago because 100 books really is just not realistic for me. I've so far read 24 books this year, which, I mean, it's not a lot for me. I feel like I read much more than that in half a year before, but it's okay. I've got a lot going on. I think on Goodreads it says like I'm 11 books behind or something. I'm sure I'll catch up like the holidays, because once I finish I have my last exam on Thursday, so today is Tuesday. I have my last exam on Thursday, and then I'm just gonna read and relax and just not think about uni until we go back for second semester. Yeah, so I have 11 questions to answer about some of the books that I've read so far this year. I've tried not to make it super repetitive, so I tried to add other books in there, but I realized looking at my Goodreads, I haven't read much that I've actually loved. I feel like it's been like okay books, a few good books, but none like amazing that have been super impressionable. But nevertheless, the first question is the best book you've read so far in 2023. I don't actually have the copy of this book, but I would definitely say The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. I listened to this on audiobook and I was absolutely obsessed with it. The story, the romance, and it's set in Alaska, and it's this girl, Calla, and she goes back to Alaska because they found out something about her dad and she's now going there to reconnect with him. It's so good. It's the small town. It's all there, but it's such a different small town because it's like wintry and it's so cozy, honestly. Jonah, who is the love interest, is like a broody, grumpy mountain man, and we love him. But it's so much more than just like the relationship between Calla and Jonah. You get her reconnecting to her dad, her finding her place in this town. I want to go to Alaska so badly. I want to. I love this book so much. I loved every second of that book and the relationship with her dad, and there was so much found family too, because it's like her dad runs a bush plane company, and Jonah's one of the pilots for her dad, and so there's planes and everything, and it's just, I know I've only read it, but I feel like I've been there and I've seen it and I've seen the nature, and oh, it is so good. I could talk about this book forever. The best sequel you've read so far in 2023. I haven't actually read many sequels, but I would say the best sequel I've read is Unravel Me by Tahira Murphy. This is the second book in the Shatter Me series. I've only read the first two and then the first two novellas, but this one I really loved, and I really fell in love with the series through this one. Like the first one you get a little bit of Juliet and stuff, and then this one gets more real into the world and the characters, and I'm obsessed with this series now. New release you haven't read yet but want to. I am a big Amazon pre-order girl, so all these books turn up to my house and they sort of just pile up, and I don't read them because if I'm not in the mood to read them, then I don't read them. But one that was like highly anticipated for me was Final Offer by Lauren Asher, the third book in the Dreamland Billionaire series. I loved the first book, and then I absolutely adored the second book, like obsessed. I don't know why I've been rather hesitant to read this one. It might be because it's like a lot bigger than the other two, but I definitely want to get around to reading this year, because, you know, Cal is so different from Rowan and Declan. Of those two are super grumpy, and he's more golden retriever, like sunshine, and I think it'll be so cool to see that difference. So it's not going to be a grumpy sunshine, and it's a second chance romance. Most most anticipated release for the second half of the year. It's probably one of my most anticipated releases of, I guess, my whole reading career. It's part of the series that first got me into reading, that I was first obsessed with, and it is A Touch of Chaos by Scarlett St. Clair. This is the last book in the Hades and Persephone series, which is a Hades and Persephone retelling. The first one's A Touch of Darkness, which I absolutely love. I devoured it. And I just need to get to I just want the last one so that I can reread it all and finish their story. And I just love them so much, and I want to see how their story ends, and I want them to get the like happy ending. And I've been waiting for this book for like 2 years now, and the fact that it's actually coming out in like a few months is crazy, and I am so excited. Okay, the biggest surprise. The biggest surprise for me was this book called The Xmens Carnival that my nana gave me to read, because I was like, I'm trying to read different genres, not just romance. So she gave me The Xmen's Carnival to read. It was so, I didn't think I was gonna like it at first, but I really enjoyed it in the end. It's narrated by a magpie, and it's about this magpie Tama who can talk basically, and he lives in a house with these two people, with this married couple, and he pretty much becomes famous, and you follow his life through fame as a magpie and the relationship between this married couple. And it was so interesting, and I really enjoyed it. It's by a New Zealand author, so it's New Zealand fiction. It's set in New Zealand. I definitely recommend though. It was so different from anything I've ever read, and I really enjoyed it. I found it, I mean, I never thought that I would like a book narrated by a magpie. I didn't know that like that those things existed, but it was honestly really great, and the biggest surprise to me. Thank you, Nana, for the recommendation, because that's I think that's probably one of my top books of this year. Favorite new author, debut or new to you? I would definitely say Tahira Murphy, again, the author of the Shatter Me series. I actually read Shatter Me last year, but I started really loving her writing at this book, so I'm gonna count it in this video. It's been a long time since I've read a dystopian book. I think I read The Hunger Games, Divergent, Maze Runner, and I feel like going back into those roots of like reading and loving books. That was where it began for me, like the dystopian reads. And I mean, these books just read so easily. At the same time, the world is so interesting, and I love dystopian societies. Okay, newest fictional crush. You see, I feel like even like I've only read 24 books, and none of the book boyfriends I've really loved, but I would have to say Jonah from The Simple Wild. I want myself a bushman, a bush pilot who lives in Alaska. That he is my new favorite crush. And I would say also Aaron Warner. But other than that, I haven't really loved any of the book boyfriends so far in most of the books I've read. Book that made you cry. I haven't actually cried to a book this year. I'm not that easy to tears with the books. I tend to like prepare myself before reading if I know that it's going to be sad or not. So I sort of just picked out the saddest book, and that would be Even When I'm Gone by Nicole Fiorina. It's a Stay With Me trilogy. I talked about it before. It's like completely based on all these characters' mental health, and they're at like a school for struggling teenagers or something. I think it's something like that. Definitely check trigger warnings if you're ever interested in reading this book. But it's about Mia and Ollie and their own sort of mental health struggles, and how their own struggles sort of affect their relationship together. And this one, I mean, every book of these is just so heart-wrenching, and it takes you through an emotional journey. And I mean, the quotes in these books are insane. Like I have so many tabs all throughout this book, and so many highlights and underlines. It's just so meaningful and so sad, and so, I mean, if there was any book that would make me cry, it would be this one. A book that made you happy. Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. This one was a really fun book, a book that kept me smiling. I really loved it. It's about Josh and Hazel who are friends and they set up each other with dates and then they go on double dates together. And over the course of that, you know, they figure out that they would so much rather be dating the other than the person they're on the date with. And it was just so cute, so wholesome. I love this book. I think I read it in like one day. It was so fun. I love Christina Lauren's writing and just all of the stories they make. It's so good and definitely the happiest book. Like, there was nothing sad about this book. It was just pure fun, wholesome content that I needed. Oh, most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. Once Upon a Broken Heart. I was very hesitant to buying this at first because I didn't know if I was a super big fan of the cover, but since it's in this my answer to this question, I am now a huge fan of this cover and I just want to display it everywhere. I just think it's so pretty. I haven't read this book either. I just have it. I just love me a pink book. Like anyone else, like this book, and then Things We Hide from the Light I also have, which I bought only because it's pink. The Way to My Heart is through a pink book, and this is my favourite pink book and my favourite book cover. Maybe it'll be my favourite book. Okay, and then the last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I actually have an entire Notion page about my books and it's got my 2023 reading goals on it and it has specific books that I'm wanting to read. My first goal is I want to read all of the Shatter Me books. 2 books in so far, but I feel like it'll go really quickly once I start to get in the groove of it. I want to reread the Divergent series because those were like the first books that got me into reading. I loved those books. Like 13-year-old Bella was obsessed with those books and it's why 19-year-old Bella is now talking to you about books constantly. And then I want to read the Harry Potter series. I have never actually read the entire Harry Potter series, but this year my goal was to read all of the books. And so far, I am halfway through The Goblet of Fire, and I have hope that I will manage to get through all of them and make my brother proud because he just can't believe that I haven't read them all. So funny. I feel like when I was like 13, I read part of this and I just got so bored. It was so long, I just couldn't do it anymore. I feel like I've got some reading stamina now so I can do it and I'm really enjoying it. Harry, Hermione, Ron, the OGs. We love them. Oh, and then another goal that's on there is to read the Twilight series. Last year I read the first 2 books in Twilight and now my goal is just to finish it so that I can say that I've read Twilight. I just felt like I needed to read Twilight once in my lifetime. So hopefully I will get that done this year. Who knows? Check back with me at the end of the year and we will find out. That is all the questions. If you wanted to do this yourself, I will put the questions in the description box. I hope you enjoyed watching me talk about books and I hope some of you got a few recommendations from this video, and if you do read some books let me know how you like them and we can talk about that. Anyways, that is the end of the video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy this and want to see more videos by me, feel free to subscribe. I try to post every week. Saying that, I haven't posted in a good couple weeks at this point because I was away, but I will definitely be coming out with more book content. I also do a lot of vlogs on this channel, so just watch out for those. But anyways, thank you so much for making it to this point in the video and I will hopefully see you in my next video. Bye!